Exploitation usually refers to movies, but over the years it has also extended to TV and entertainment in general. Exploitation is when a product, be it movies, TV, video games, etc., attempts to succeed financially by exploiting a current popular trend. In the past, I've talked about blaxploitation, canucksploitation, nunsploitation, but this week I'm going to talk about Hercsploitation. Hercsploitation is for TV shows that tried to piggyback on the success of a little monster of a program called Hercules the Legendary Journeys. While the biggest of this was the spin-off Xena, everybody already knows about that show, so I'm going to be focusing on some others you may not be aware of. Oh, and I already mentioned Beastmaster in a previous episode, so that's not on here either. Here's 5 Hercsploitation shows you may have missed or forgotten about. The Adventures of Sinbad. In the mid-90s, Hercules the Legendary Journeys was dominating television. It was the highest-rated syndicated show in the world at the time, even surpassing the juggernaut that is Baywatch. Wanting to capitalize on this, Ed Naha, an American sci-fi writer and producer who frequently worked with Roger Corman, came up with the idea of doing a similar style show, only focusing on the retelling of the adventures of Sinbad, the hero from Middle Eastern folktales 1001 Nights, aka Arabian Knights. It was a sword and sorcery show that was set in the Middle East. The show would be about a ragtag band of adventurers led by the charismatic sailor Sinbad. No, not that Sinbad. Anyway, Sinbad and his crew travel around Baghdad fighting evil and occasionally being sexy for the ladies. As I said, the show was created by Ed Naha, who most famously was the writer of the blockbuster Honey, I Shrunk the Kids. The show was syndicated in numerous networks, and the first episode aired on September 28, 1996. The series was largely filmed in Ontario, Canada, and Cape Town, South Africa. Sinbad was played by Zen Gesner, an actor who, up to this point, mostly did bit parts or small supporting roles in movies like Dumb and Dumber and Kingpin. Most recently, he was in the movie Ricky Stenicki. The show was doing quite well for 2 seasons, and they had a 3rd season planned, but the whole thing fell apart due to some internal disputes. According to Naha, since season 2 ended on a cliffhanger, they were going to resolve that and plan to have everything wrapped up by the end of season 3, which would be the series finale. However, they weren't able to do that as the show was canceled. The last episode aired on May 24th, 1998. The series ran for 2 seasons with 44 episodes. The series was released on DVD by multiple companies, but they are all now out of print. The show was available for streaming at one point, but not anymore. The full series is on YouTube. Conan the Adventurer. Yes, I know the character of Conan has been around a lot longer than the show Hercules, but this is a case of a studio seeing the success of one character and then doing another adaptation of a well-known character to try to capitalize on both properties. So in this case, we get Conan the Adventurer. Although oddly enough, there already was a Conan the Adventurer. In 1992, Sunbow released the animated series Conan the Adventurer. I'll talk about that more in another episode. The show is produced by Keller Entertainment Group, headed by Max Keller and Micheline Keller. Different Max Keller. This is the same production company that gifted us the wonderful Acapulco Heat. The show is loosely based on the character of Conan the Barbarian, created by Robert E. Howard. Essentially, they retooled Conan to be more like how Hercules is in the Legendary Journeys. Conan travels the lands with his team of mercenary warriors to fight off evil and defeat the sorcerer Zul, who killed his parents. The storyline for the series was quite a departure from the previous incarnations of the character, because they wanted to appeal to a broader audience. So, Conan the Barbarian was made kid-friendly. This was another show in syndication. It premiered on September 22nd, 1997. Conan was played by Rolf Mueller. Mueller's a German actor and bodybuilder. His first movie was the 1989 Jean-Claude Van Damme vehicle, Cyborg. On a side note, I didn't know this until now. Mueller's character in Cyborg is named Brick Bardo. Brick Bardo was the name of Tim Thomerson in Dollman. Both films were directed by the late great Albert Pune. Anyway, the Conan show followed the template that was set by Hercules. It's a fun formula that worked for pretty much all these shows. However, the series didn't take off like they hoped, and it was canceled after 1 season. The show ran for 22 episodes, with the last episode airing on May 25th, 1998. Conan the Adventurer did get a DVD release, but it's out of print. The show is available for streaming on Tubi and Pluto. It's also available on YouTube. Sheena. Sheena, Queen of the Jungle, was created in 1938. This was a groundbreaking character, as she was the first female comic book character with her own title. She beat Wonder Woman by a few months. In 1956 was the first TV series about the character. In 1984, there was a movie about the character. Now in 2000, there was another TV series about the character. The show was produced by Douglas Schwartz, Steven Sears Productions, and distributed by Columbia TriStar Television. Yet another series that was syndicated to various markets. The first episode aired on October 7th, 2000. A little late to try to cash in on the Hercules Xena wave, as Hercules had just ended in November of 1999. Sheena was played by Gina Lee Nolan, who was a model that was one of the Price is Right girls in the mid-90s. She joined the cast of Baywatch in 1995 and left in 1998 to star in Sheena. The show followed the basic premise of the comic. Sheena's parents were archaeologists who died in the jungle when she was very young. She was rescued by a local tribe who raised her and gifted her the ability to transform into different jungle animals. Kind of like Manimal. Womanimal? On top of the animal morphing, she also had superhuman speed, strength, and agility. She meets Matt, an ex-CIA operative who's essentially a hired gun in Africa. They join forces and do all sorts of odd jobs going after evil warlords, evil foreigners, evil CIA agents, and other evil people trying to do harm to others. The show was a modest success, continuing on for 2 seasons. However, Season 2 was much shorter than 1. Season 1 was 22 episodes, while Season 2 was only 13. The series was canceled and the last episode aired on February 23rd, 2002. The show was released and re-released on DVD over the years. It was released by Mill Creek in 2017, and it seems to be out of print, but the DVDs are on eBay for about $17. This version is a pretty good deal since it includes the series, the movie from '84, and an episode of the show from the 50s. The show is available for streaming on Tubi, and it is on YouTube, but it's not in English. Sir Arthur Conan Doyle's The Lost World. In 1912, the author, Sir Arthur Conan Doyle, wrote the novel The Lost World. It's about a young reporter who goes looking for the mysterious lost world, a world filled with all sorts of prehistoric monsters and people. The show was a loose adaptation of the novel. Sir Arthur Conan Doyle's The Lost World was initially just a feature-length pilot. It aired on DirecTV in February of 1999, and then on the cable channel TNT in April. It was picked up for a series, and it went into syndication. The pilot was edited into 2 episodes that they rebroadcast, starting with Part 1 on October 2nd, 1999. The show followed Professor George Challenger and his cohorts. Once they get to the Lost World, they meet a jungle dweller, Veronica, who joins them on their journeys. They fight off CG dinosaurs, CG lizard men, and other CG things. The show was a success. It lasted for 3 seasons with 66 episodes. It was originally planned they were going to get a 4th season, so they ended Season 3 on a cliffhanger. However, some financial problems made a 4th season impossible, so the show was canceled with no resolution. The last episode aired on May 13th, 2002. The series was released on DVD and was just re-released in 2022, so it's pretty easy to find and not too expensive. The show's streaming on Tubi, Pluto, and Roku. It's also available to purchase on video on demand. Some clips are on YouTube, but not the series. The Adventures of Captain Zoom in Outer Space. This one is the combo breaker. Captain Zoom was not only meant to be something different than Hercules, but it was also a parody of the classic serials like Flash Gordon and Buck Rogers. Captain Zoom is about an actor from the 1950s, Ty Farrell. He plays the character of Captain Zoom in an old black and white TV show. On a planet far away, some aliens intercept the TV broadcasts and believe he's a real hero. The aliens bring the actor to their home planet and beg him to help them fight the evil Lord Vox. The aliens discover Captain Zoom is really an arrogant coward who refuses to help them, but as time goes on, he overcomes his ego and tells them he was just pretending as a test. He then uses plots from his TV series as an inspiration to help lead the aliens to victory over Lord Vox. Sound familiar? This predated Galaxy Quest, by about 4 years. Not saying Galaxy Quest ripped it off, it's just that the two are very similar. Captain Zoom was a feature-length film that served as a pilot for a potential series. The pilot wasn't picked up, so they aired it on many of the same channels that Hercules and others were syndicated to, in the hopes that if it did well, they could make it into a series. The pilot premiered on December 1st, 1995. It did okay, but not enough to warrant going to a series. Apparently there were talks to take it into a series for years afterwards, but nothing ever became of it. The movie was clever and funny, with some reviews mentioning how the dialogue was part of what made the pilot work.
Personally, I wouldn't know what it feels like to give up such extravagances since I've spent my whole life engaged in a life-or-death struggle trying to preserve the homeland of my people.
Gee, it's too bad that cute butt has such a big stick stuck up it!
The movie was shown quite a bit on Sci-Fi Channel back in the day, back when they were still sci-fi. Daniel Riordan played Captain Zoom. He had a small movie career in bit parts in movies like Ed Wood and Break Into Electric Boogaloo. He's had much greater success on TV in a variety of shows from Star Trek DS9 to Monk. However, he's had even greater success in video games as a voice actor on games like Justice League Heroes, Diablo 3, and Days Gone. He was the voice of Alduin, the head villain in Skyrim. Ron Perlman played the evil Lord Vox. He said he enjoyed his time working on the pilot and was sad the show didn't become a series. They even pulled in some Star Trek royalty with Nichelle Nichols playing the High Priestess of Pangaea. The pilot isn't on DVD and it's not available for streaming. It is on YouTube though. So that's some Hercsploitation. I was thinking about adding young Hercules with Ryan Gosling, but I'll probably put that in another video. Anyway, go watch Captain Zoom while it's still up. It's really funny, and it's a bummer they couldn't have made it into a series. I'll see you next time. Stay tuned.
I mustn't do this. It is the law. I have a responsibility to my people, my religion.
You a Catholic too?
Oh, to hell with it. Oh, yes, yes, yes!